I was 6 months pregnant when he left me for his secretary, took the house, the car, everything. He said I'd never survive without him. 3 years later, I bought the building where he worked and became his boss. This is how a broken woman became untouchable. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because this story will change how you see betrayal forever. I still remember the exact moment my life shattered. It was a Tuesday afternoon in April. I had left work early because my feet were swollen, and carrying another human inside you at 6 months makes even breathing feel like a workout. I just wanted to get home, put my feet up, maybe watch something mindless on TV. I was thinking about baby names. We hadn't decided yet. He kept saying we had time. I walked through our front door and immediately knew something was wrong. The air felt different, heavy. And then I saw him, in our bedroom, stuffing clothes into a suitcase. Not just any clothes, his favorite suits, his expensive watches, everything that mattered to him. "What are you doing?" I asked. My voice sounded small, scared, like some part of me already knew. He didn't even look at me at first, just kept folding a shirt. When he finally turned around, his face was blank, cold. This wasn't the man I married. This wasn't the man whose career I'd supported for 4 years while putting my own dreams on hold. "I'm leaving," he said. Simple as that, like he was announcing he was going to the grocery store. I laughed, actually laughed, because it had to be a joke, right? We were having a baby. We had plans. We were supposed to be forever. "Leaving? What do you mean leaving? I'm pregnant. We're having a baby in 3 months. That's when he said it, the words that would replay in my head for months. "I'm in love with Lauren. I need someone ambitious, someone who takes care of themselves. You've let yourself go." Lauren, his assistant, the 25-year-old who brought him coffee and laughed at all his jokes, the one I'd been friendly to at company parties, the one I'd never seen as a threat because I trusted him. I stood there, one hand on my swollen belly, trying to process what was happening. "We're married. We're having a child. You can't just leave." He pulled out an envelope from his briefcase, divorce papers, already drawn up, already signed on his end. He'd planned this, while I was picking cribs and washing tiny onesies in preparation for our baby. He was planning his exit. "The house is in my name. The car is in my name. My lawyer will be in touch about the details, but I think it's better if you're out by the end of the week." I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. "What about the baby? What about our child?" He grabbed his suitcase and walked past me. Actually walked past me like I was a stranger. At the door, he turned back. "You'll figure it out. You always do." And then he was gone.
I moved into my mother's apartment 3 days later. 1 bedroom, thin walls, in a neighborhood I'd worked so hard to escape. My mother didn't say "I told you so," but I could see it in her eyes. She'd never fully trusted him. Said he had ambitious eyes that didn't include other people. The panic attacks started that first week. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning, heart racing, unable to catch my breath. How was I going to do this? I had no job, no savings. He'd controlled everything, and I'd let him because I thought we were a team. I dropped out of my hospitality management program when he got his big promotion because he said we didn't need 2 careers. He said he'd take care of us. His family stopped returning my calls. Our mutual friends suddenly became his friends. I was erased from the life I'd helped build, and his expensive lawyers made sure he didn't have to pay a dime in support. They dragged me through court for months, draining what little money I had until I couldn't afford to fight anymore. 3 months later, I gave birth to Lily, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, with his eyes and my determination. He didn't show up at the hospital, didn't call, didn't send flowers. It was like we never existed to him. I held my daughter in that hospital room and cried. Not sad tears, angry tears, determined tears. Because looking at her tiny face, I made myself a promise. She would never see me broken. She would never grow up thinking women needed men to save them. I was going to figure this out, even if I had no idea how. Rock bottom has a smell. It smells like industrial cleaning solution and other people's garbage. That's what I learned working the night shift at the Grand View Hotel, cleaning rooms after guests checked out. My mother's friend had gotten me the job. Minimum wage, brutal hours, but it was something. I'd work from 10 at night until 6 in the morning, scrubbing toilets and changing sheets while my mother watched Lily. I'd get home, sleep for 3 hours, spend the afternoon with my baby, then do it all over again. I was exhausted, broken, running on coffee and spite. But something strange happened during those long nights pushing a cleaning cart through empty hallways. I started noticing things. The Grandview was a luxury hotel, or at least it was supposed to be, but it was failing. I could see it everywhere. The outdated decor, the rude front desk staff, the maintenance issues that never got fixed. Guests complained constantly, and nobody seemed to care. I'd spent 2 years studying hospitality management before I dropped out. I knew what made hotels successful, and the Grandview was doing everything wrong. So I started writing things down. At first, just little notes on my phone during breaks, ideas about how to improve the guest experience, how to create loyalty, how to make people feel special instead of just processed. It kept my mind busy, kept me from thinking about him, about how he was probably living his best life while I was cleaning up strangers' messes. Then, one night, the owner showed up, Mrs. Patterson. She was in her 70s, silver hair, always perfect, walked with a cane but had eyes that missed nothing. She'd inherited the hotel from her late husband and mostly let managers run it while she collected checks. She found me reorganizing a supply closet. I'd noticed we were wasting money on duplicate orders, buying things we already had because nobody tracked inventory. "You're new," she said. I nearly jumped out of my skin. "Yes, ma'am, started 2 months ago." "You reorganized this entire closet?" I thought I was in trouble. "I'm sorry, I just noticed we had 3 boxes of the same." "Don't apologize. This is the first time I've seen this closet make sense in 5 years. She studied me for a long moment. "What's your name?"
We talked for 2 hours that night. She asked about my life, and I told her everything. The divorce, the baby, my unfinished degree. She listened without judgment, just nodding occasionally. Then she asked to see my notes, the ideas I'd been writing down. I was embarrassed, but I showed her. She read through everything on my phone, her expression unreadable. Finally, she looked up at me. "How would you like to stop cleaning rooms and start fixing this place?" I thought I'd misheard her. "I don't understand." "I'm old, I'm tired, and this hotel is dying because I don't have the energy to save it anymore. But you do. You see what's wrong and you know how to fix it. So here's my proposition. I'll invest $50,000. You manage this place and turn it around. We split profits 60-40. You get the 40. My hands were shaking. "Mrs. Patterson, I don't have any money. I can barely afford my phone bill." "I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for work, for vision, for that fire I see in your eyes." She extended her hand. "Do we have a deal?" I thought about Lily sleeping in my mother's apartment. I thought about him, probably in bed with Lauren, never thinking about us. I thought about every person who'd counted me out. I shook her hand. "We have a deal." The first year almost killed me. I worked 16-hour days, learning everything about hotel operations while still being mom to a 1-year-old. But I loved it. Every challenge, every problem, every impossible situation felt like proof I was alive, that I was more than what he'd left behind. I transformed the Grandview completely. New concept, a boutique hotel designed for business travelers with children, because I knew that pain, the guilt of traveling for work and missing bedtime. So we added complimentary childcare services, professional certified nannies on staff. Parents could attend meetings knowing their kids were safe and happy. But it was more than that. I trained staff to remember names, to notice preferences, to make every guest feel seen. I'd learned what it meant to be invisible, and I never wanted anyone to feel that way in my hotel. The response was immediate. Business travelers loved us. Travel bloggers wrote about us. Revenue doubled in 8 months. Mrs. Patterson cried when she saw the numbers. "You did it! You actually did it!" "We did it," I corrected her, because she'd believed in me when nobody else would. By year 2, we opened 4 more locations across the state, each one with the same philosophy: luxury with heart, business with soul. Every hotel had a program where we hired single mothers for housekeeping positions, with free childcare and paths to management, because I remembered. I would always remember. The hospitality industry started paying attention. Magazine features, industry awards. I was invited to speak at conferences. Me, the woman who'd been cleaning toilets 2 years earlier. And through it all, Lily grew. She took her first steps in the Grandview lobby, said her first word in my new office. She was my why. Every long night, every sacrifice, every moment I wanted to quit, I'd look at her picture on my desk and push through. Year 3, Mrs. Patterson wanted to retire. We'd become friends, real friends. She'd become like a grandmother to Lily. When she offered to sell me her stake in the company, I paid her triple what it was worth. She'd given me a chance when I had nothing. That deserved more than money could measure. At 32 years old, I owned 12 luxury hotels. My net worth was $340 million. I'd gone from homeless and heartbroken to one of the most successful women in hospitality. But the number that mattered most? Lily was 3 years old, happy, healthy, and thought her mama could do anything. Because I could. Success has a funny way of bringing the past back around. I was in a meeting with my acquisition team when they presented a new opportunity, a commercial building downtown, prime location, financially stable tenants, good investment. I approved it without much thought, just another property in a growing portfolio. Then I saw the tenant list. His investment firm was there, 3 floors. He worked there. The man who'd left me with nothing was paying rent in a building I was about to own.
My assistant noticed my face. "Are you okay? Should we pass on this one?" I thought about it for exactly 5 seconds. No, business is business. Move forward. The closing took 6 weeks. I didn't tell anyone about the connection. I showed up on my first day as owner to tour the property, professional and focused, just another Tuesday. Until the elevator doors opened on the 7th floor, and there he was. He looked older, tired. The confidence I'd once found attractive was gone, replaced with something that looked like desperation. And next to him, looking equally worn down, was Lauren. He didn't recognize me at first. I'd changed everything. Lost the baby weight and then some, tailored suit, hairstyled, confident. I didn't look like the broken pregnant woman he'd abandoned. Then recognition hit his face like a slap. His mouth actually fell open. "Hey," he stammered. "I didn't know. You're the new owner?" Lauren's eyes went wide. She looked between us, clearly uncomfortable. I smiled. Professional, cold. "Rent is due on the 1st. Don't be late." I walked past them into my meeting, and I didn't look back, but my hands were shaking. After all this time, all this success, seeing him still hurt. Not because I wanted him back, but because of what he'd done, what he'd taken, the fear he'd made me feel. But I'd survived. More than survived. I won. 3 days later, he showed up at my office. My assistant tried to stop him, but I told her it was fine. Let him come. He sat across from my desk, looking small in the leather chair. This office was bigger than the apartment I'd lived in with my mother. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. "I need to talk to you about Lily," he started. "You gave up that right 3 years ago." "I made a mistake. I was stupid. I was selfish." His voice cracked. "I want to be in her life. I want to make this right." I leaned back in my chair. Where was this energy when she was born, when she took her first steps, when she said "Mama" for the first time?
Lauren, she left me. When things got tough financially, she just left. And my career, it stalled. I'm stuck. But I see your face everywhere. Magazines, conferences, news articles. You're successful. You made it. There it was, the real reason. Not because he missed Lily, because he saw what I'd become and wanted a piece of it. Let me be very clear, I said, my voice steady. You taught me the most valuable lesson in my life. I didn't need you. I never needed you. You leaving me was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to discover what I was capable of. He started to speak, but I held up my hand. As for Lily, you're not her father. You're a DNA donor. She has no idea who you are, and I prefer to keep it that way. If you want visitation, you can apply through the courts like any other stranger. But don't come to my office. Don't ambush me in my building. This is my space. You don't belong here. Please, I have a meeting with the mayor at 2. My assistant will show you out. I watched him leave, shoulders slumped, everything about him defeated, and I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, just nothing. He didn't matter anymore. He was a chapter I'd closed long ago. After he left, I sat alone in my office. One tear fell, just one, not for him, not for what we had, but for the woman I used to be, the scared, broken girl who thought her world was ending. I wished I could tell her it gets better, that the pain she's feeling is just fuel for something extraordinary, that her daughter will grow up strong because she'll see her mother rise. Then I wiped that tear away, fixed my makeup, and went to my meeting, because I had a city to change, a business to run, and a daughter who was waiting for me to come home and read her a bedtime story. That night, I tucked Lily into bed. She looked up at me with those big eyes and asked, "Mama, tell me about when you were brave." I smiled, kissing her forehead. Every single day, baby, every single day. Because that's the truth. Bravery isn't one big moment. It's getting up when you've been knocked down. It's choosing to build instead of break. It's looking at your daughter and deciding she deserves to see strength, not bitterness. He didn't break me. He freed me. And that building where he works, that's just one of 12 properties I own. Just one piece of an empire built on the ashes of the worst day of my life. If this story inspired you, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Drop a comment telling me what you'd do in her shoes. Remember, your comeback is always bigger than your setback. Subscribe for more untold stories of resilience and strength. See you in the next one, and remember, you're stronger than you think.